welcome to another episode of Date on Sports. If you're watching this on video, I do apologise if it is a little bit dark. I'm shooting this a bit later in the day. I did try shooting a little bit earlier in the afternoon, probably about an hour ago, but got about 3-4 minutes in and my neighbour thought it was a great time, which to be fair, it is a great time to cut the lawn, which I need to do as well. I'm procrastinating that a little bit, but kind of couldn't really record with the mower absolutely churning up grass next door right outside the room that I'm recording in. Now, he mowed for a god-awful amount of time though. I just sat here waiting to record, and I got no problem with him mowing, don't get me wrong, but fuck, he'd want to have lines in his grass like the gabber at this point. He was mowing for that long. He should be out there with scissors getting it right with the roller and everything, because man, he went for ages. Now, again, if you are watching this on video, you are going to see a bit of an odd-looking jersey behind me, not my usual Broncos or Cricket Australia, but a Warriors. I think it's a 2011 Heritage jersey that I've got there. That one came from home while I was back there over Christmas. My brother and I were going through a few different things. I thought it'd make for a really cool prop, but that's also a bit of a nod to Tohu Harris, who decided to hang up the boots this week, or at least in the last couple of days. He's kind of been a bit injury plagued for the last few seasons, a little niggles, this, that. Obviously getting a bit older as well, and decided to call it day. So he's had an amazing career. The Warriors are going to miss him big time. Yes, sure, they've got James Fisher-Harris coming in, but very, very hard to replace him, especially as captain. It is going to be interesting to see who they get in, but before we do jump into everything, make sure you do like, follow, subscribe, particularly on YouTube. Like I said last week, once I hit 500 subscribers, I'm going to be giving away a jersey to one lucky person. I'm 2 subscribers off that, so any 2 of you could be the one to tick over the edge. So make sure you do hit the subscribe button. Again, I'm going to link everything else in the bio. It is important, if you'd like to win that jersey, that you do follow on Instagram, because the giveaway is going to be over there. So I will announce that as well, so you are aware of it on YouTube. But I do appreciate all the support. So we'll jump into it. Plenty of sporting stuff to have a yarn about today. We've got cricket, rugby league, and a little bit of UFC stuff as well. Now, again, making sure you are following, because things are going to be really revving up heading into the footy season. Way more content. The off season during the cricket time, more of a downtime, obviously. I still enjoy it, still enjoy chatting about it, but so much more going on when the rugby league starts. So we're really getting close now. I think it's about 40 odd days, not counting. I'm seeing this on other social medias though. I'm not sitting there ticking off days on the calendar or anything like a madman. I was really hoping to get around to some of the trial games. There's one happening here in Brisbane, well, I guess in Redcliffe at the KO Stadium there. Broncos are playing, I think it's the Bulldogs. Bloke and a Bar have an event that day as well, which would be pretty sweet. I was hoping to potentially get along to that, but it's a little bit hard to muster the girlfriend. Hey, do you want to take me all the way to Redcliffe from where I am in Brisbane? It's probably a good part of an hour drive, and come to the footy with me and be sober for the driver. A little bit of a hard sell, but very, very keen for the season to be starting. But like I was saying, jumping straight into cricket. Now, that is something that is quite funny to me. So my girlfriend had to endure me making content and watching a lot of rugby league during the 2024 season, and she was like, yes, footy's done, everything's sweet. Wrongo, straight into the cricket. Test match, Big Bash, you name it, it's all going on, and there has been so much going on in the Big Bash recently. It's so hard to keep up with it. There's a million games a week, and it's not like a test match where you want to sit down and enjoy every single ball and you've got multiple days to kind of watch it. It is something that's so short and sharp, and that many games, it's so easy to miss the entire season. Like, it's already the Brisbane Heat's last home game this Thursday. They've got, I think, 2 more games left. I haven't been to a single one of them. Usually I get along to a handful of them, but it's been busy. It is just such a short season, such a short format. So it is good though for the casual viewer. You can just flick it on, and I try to keep my eye on the games where I can, but just depends on what's going on. I'm not like ridiculously invested into it. I've definitely got more into it this season, I'd say, if anything. Nice thing to punt on as well. It kind of keeps that account moving, but you just see how you go. But speaking of the Brisbane Heat, I think 3 of the spots now in the finals are locked up. I think it's the Thunder, be the Stars, and the Hurricanes. I'm pretty sure somehow the Stars got in there as well, but the rest of it's completely all up in the air. I think Brisbane Heat are in 5th, which isn't great for the reigning premiers defending their title there, but I think if they win 2 games, they're in regardless of what the other teams do, who wins, whatever else. If they lose one though, that's when you start getting into the woo-woo maths of, if this team beats this team and makes X amount of runs and we score this much. Hopefully we don't get there. Hopefully we just cruise through to the finals, but again, really, if you blink it and you miss it, cricket. But it is a shame though that the Big Bash season does kick off in the middle of our summer of cricket. it's so much better when you've got those big stars from the test team that are playing. And we've seen that, I think, over the last few weeks when you've had a handful of them, coming back and playing a bit of Big Bash. And even some of the ones that have, retired and just playing that format of cricket now, see Davey Warner's guys like that, you just see that kind of extra level. Like Davey Warner is just out there taking the piss with the bat at the moment. I think he's the leading run scorer at the moment. I forgot the amount of runs that he's on, but he's blasting them. Didn't do super great, I think it was last night, but he's making 80s, nearly 100s. He's hitting 50s all the time. Sixes are flying everywhere. The bloke is hitting the ball so hard, he's snapping his cricket bat and giving himself a HIA, if you haven't seen that video. And it didn't break usually where it does. He's played full the whole way through, and you can just see that reaction. When something hits you on the head and you don't know what it is, he like shits himself a little bit, and then he realises it's his cricket bat. He bloody cops himself with that, but he has been all over it. It's been a great contest to see, but. And yeah, speaking of the other day, so you had Smudge. He went on and made 121 runs off 64 balls. He's played fuck all T20 cricket over X amount of years. I forgot. I think it was about like 50 odd, maybe 40 odd games he's played, which for the amount of time that he's played Big Bash cricket is not many at all. And I think that's now his third century in the T20 format, which would equal the most, equal first for the most in the Big Bash, which is just ridiculous. Smudge is in the runs at the moment, and if he can keep that form up, he's going to go over in any of the one-dayers, delete people. He's going to pump them when they go over to Sri Lanka as well. But then later on in the year, once we go over to England and play South Africa, if he keeps that form up for the Test Championship, all we know is Smudge loves to make runs in England, so watch out South Africa if Smudge keeps it up. But yeah, he's killing it, and there was such a funny photo the other day that came out. I think it was from like BBL. It was either 1, 2 or 3, whatever it was, and he just had his like kind of baseball cap or like flat cap Sixers style thing, like turned to the side, full fucking gangster skate park Smudge was going on. The thing is as well, I was kind of having a laugh with my brother about it. He's probably went out to play with it turned like that. It just wouldn't surprise me if that was kind of fashionable then. Beats me off. I'm not too sure the exact year that would have been, but it does add up for Steve Smith to be doing that sort of stuff as well. And then straight after that, I think it was literally the next game, the Adelaide Strikers took on the Brisbane Heat, and Matt Short, he took the runs that Steve Smith put on personally, because he went out and smacked 109 off 54 against my poor Brisbane Heat. I think they hit a record for the most amount of runs scored at that game. They put on like 240, 250 odd. So, when you fucking batting up second, chasing that down, you're just like, well, we're just going to be chasing leather, basically. There was a lot of right arm orthodox pies that were going for them to get that score. Like, that was just ridiculous. I flicked on the run chase, though, because we started to have a bit of a crack at it. Renshaw and a few of the others went at it, but a total like that is just ridiculous. It was always going to be really, really hard. And another player that is killing it is Glenn Maxwell. I truly think he's one of the most exciting cricketers to watch in the short format of the game, whether that's one day, T20, you name it. He is a monster with the bat in the hand, and one of the best fielders probably in the world for a very long time. Some of the stuff that he can pull off, he just makes some of the most difficult stuff, both batting and in the field, look just ordinary for him. We saw that a few weeks ago. He had that one that was going over the boundary. He managed to jump up in the air, catch it, throw it back in for himself and take it. And then, he's just got countless takes many, many seasons after each other. Like, he is just ridiculous with it. When he came into the crease the other night, it was 4 for 45, and I think he made about 90 odd. Melbourne Stars were looking completely cooked. Like, they were looking done. And he just said, yeah, no worries, boys. If you let me bat, I'll pump this thing all the way up to 165. So he went in there, and it is just a beautiful thing to watch. And as soon as he gets rid of that helmet and it's just the cap that's on, you're going to be seeing good stuff from Glenny Maxwell. His eyes are in and he's ready to go, and God, he blasted them. Hit one of the biggest sixes for the season as well. Like, he just smokes them. He is just one of those players that completely can, turn a game on its head if he's on. And I don't know what the hell's happened to the Melbourne Stars. They started off this comp terrible. Like, it looks like they were just going to go out in straight sets, get the spoon, not win a single thing. Hits the bloody New Year. It's like they've all been to some yoga retreat over the fucking New Year period, because they've come back completely in sync, killing it, smashing teams, and somehow locked up a spot in the finals. So, riddle me that one there. And then on the topic of Glenn Maxwell, of course, he is selected in the squad that's going over for the one-day championships. I don't really know how to quite explain it. I guess it's the ICC championships or whatever it might be, but that's over in Pakistan and the UAE, I believe. So that's going to be happening next month. Australia, they are the one-day champions, but it's not quite the same champion. I don't think this particular contest has happened in 9 years. Pretty sure Pakistan were the last ones to win it, but you can't call yourselves retaining champs or anything like that when you haven't done it in the best part of a decade. So, yeah, not too sure about that one, but in reality, I dare say it's just going to be a little bit more silverware for the Australian cricketing cabinet, which is overflowing with trophies at the moment. We have won everything, and that was a big thing after we won the Border Gavaskar trophy as well, all the bilateral stuff and whatever. Like, we have everything. We have the Tests, we've got the one-dayers, we've got the Ashes, we have every major trophy pretty much in the world. So it's just going to be more added to that tally. And then we go over to Sri Lanka as well. So they released the squads for that. Old Smudge, old Stevie Smith taking up the old captaincy. Paddy Cummins, old Blue Eyes, he's having a bit of a rest. I don't think he really necessarily had an injury, maybe a little niggle. A lot of them do, a lot of those fast bowlers when you're bowling those amount of overs, particularly Paddy, but I think he's got another kid on the way, or he's got other stuff to do. He doesn't need to be in Sri Lanka. Hazelwood, he's getting a bit of a rest up. Obviously missed quite a few games against India there, but save him for the Test Championship. And we're taking about 1 million spinners, which is handy. Obviously, we got Nathan Lyon. You got T-Head. He can bowl some spin, obviously. A bit of the ice in the finger sort of action. So if we ever need another one, bang, there's one. You know who else can bowl a bit of spin? Because, fuck, he's pace bowling's about the same speed. Bay Webster's going over there as well, and he likes to spin a ball too. He probably bowls faster spinners than he does bloody right arm custard anyway, so we'll see how that goes, but that should pretty much be a walk in the park heading into that Test Championship. Hopefully we don't pick up any injuries. Starkey is going over, but that bloke can just bowl and bowl and bowl. It is just ridiculous, but no doubt we're going to see Steve Smith as captain bring up his Test 10,000 runs. I kind of wish that it was Travis Head going over as the captain, considering he is the vice captain for the Test team generally. But his time will come, I guess, as well. And Smudge has been there, done that, so it's not the worst thing. Maybe part of that is the 10,000 run thing. Not 100% sure, but jumping into a little bit of rugby league chat. Broncos. They have been sent off to a boot camp by Michael Maguire. Now, this was, I think, yesterday, so Monday, that they got sent away. Somewhere in the bush in Brisbane or outside of Brisbane is where they've been sent. Supposedly it's some police-style, army-style kind of boot camp or whatever it might be. There's so many articles coming out about this one. Now, it kind of ties into the whole cricket thing, because back in, I think it was just before the 2006-2007 Ashes series, so the Aussies, they'd gone over to England. They lost the Ashes, which I think we'd retained for a ridiculous amount of time. So, they got sent off on this boot camp to reconnect, to get things back together. And this was when the late, great Shane Warne was still playing. And we all know a lot of the stories that are around Warne, but I read an article, if I remember where I got it, I'll put it in the bio as well. But it's all over the place. It's kind of, the same story chopped up. But pretty much, boot camp wasn't really Warnie's thing. Surprise, surprise. Apparently when they were all lined up, the story goes that he's just pulled out a carton of Benson and Hedges cigarettes. And he said, you can do whatever you want to me, but these are coming with me. And if they're not, I'm not going to be coming to this boot camp, which I think is hilarious. He got through it. Apparently all they could see was the light of bloody Shane Warne's cigarettes the entire time. But could you imagine if one of the young hot Broncos stars pulled something like that at the boot camp? You got one of those guys there. They're all lined up about to go. They pull out a box of vapes. If these aren't coming, I'm not going to be going. Just go from there. So they're off on that. So... And then I saw as well Buzz Rothfield. He's out there saying, oh no, they can't be doing this. It's too old school. It's too tough for them to be doing boot camps. It's just not on. It's like, Buzz, calm down. They're footy players. I think they'll survive. They're not going to cark it. Considering a lot of the preseason training they've already been through and everything else. Chill out, Buzz. You'll be right. Go back to bed. It's fine. So, Madge obviously trying to tee them up, and there's been a few, I guess, changes potentially, going on in the Broncos camp there. We've seen images, obviously, with Ben Hunt getting back in and around it as well, but there's been talks of a potential chop and change with Kobe Hetherington and Patrick Carrigan in that forward rotation there. So that potentially, or at least reports are saying that Paddy could be back in the middle, which if you watch him play and how he pretty much has played for many years, obviously playing in that 13 position, but he pretty much plays as a front rower anyway, which when I first saw it, I thought Corey Jensen was really the guy that's going to miss out in this situation. I think he really deserves that starting spot and has played so well. But then I had a bit of a chat with my brother about it, and he kind of put it a good way, that the way that Paddy plays anyway. And obviously there is something there that Madge has seen with Kobe Hetherington that he wants him there at the club. Like Kobe under Walters would be gone at this point. He would be at Tigers or fucking Dragons or something like that. But Madge was like, whoa, we're not fucking punishing you yet. We're not going to send you down to one of those clubs. You're staying right here, mate. So there must be something he sees or a particular way of footy that he wants to play, and Hetherington is obviously in those plans. So if he does start in the 13, I think that would be pretty good. He's a player that I thought did quite well, especially in the last few seasons. So massive props to him if he does end up picking up that position. And we all know that Patrick Carrigan is a machine. So if you've got him and Payne Haas there together, they are going to do some serious damage to teams. And I think I was listening to Bloke in the Bar in here in Denon Kemp and the rest of those guys chatting about it, just about that 1-2 punch, but what the Broncos might have been lacking, and I think he was spot on with saying it was that rotation off the bench. You'd have Jensen and Payne come off and it kind of lull a little bit there in the middle. You're going to get Paddy putting in his absolute best work, get a bit of a break, and then if you have Corey Jensen and Xavier Willinson coming off the bench for that kind of extra punch while those boys are getting a rest, that is a nasty forward pack you got there. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they are going to shape up. But I'm starting to get so excited for the Broncos season. Just with Ben Hunt being back there, just something about that. I really am having some belief in Dozer being back there. You just look at how he performed in the last few seasons. He's been up there a lot of the time with the Dally M points, but the most try assist of all players last season, which I just love to see. I think he's going to unlock this side something different. And I did, and there's chatter as well that Cobbo supposedly is going back to his wing position. That's where Madge apparently wants him, which I'm kind of neither here nor there with. Like, yes, 2023, that's where he was. He scored 1 million tries. He was a monster. I think it really just simplified his game and allowed him to play freely to an extent, and not having to think too much, maybe defending in the centres, which I thought he actually did well. And a great example of that, I think, was game 1 of Origin, where he was marked up against Stephen Crichton, and those two just nullified each other. They didn't really necessarily get the best of each other. So he can definitely do the job if he's coming up against the best centre in the world and manage to hold his own. But then you add in Ben Hunt and put Cobbo on the wing. You're my new Zach Lomax now. I'm just going to kick to you, because if he decided to do that, Cobbo could be the lead try scorer. No worries at all. Even without Ben Hunt, he probably could be on the wing. But you add that in, imagine him kicking over there. Yes, I get it. They're probably going to be on different sides of the field, but if you just give Ben Hunt the ropes to reign free around that side, kick over to Cobbo, bang, thanks for coming. That would just be wonderful. But like I was saying, Paddy in the middle, I feel like that would be a little bit more of your kind of Flegler-like player. He's kind of one in a dozen Flegler, like that aggression and the size and the power. But Paddy is probably a lot more like that, I'd say, than a lot of the other forwards that we have. Like the aggression that he, not necessarily aggression, but like the what's the word I'm looking for? Just how hard he hits, the intensity. So the intensity that Paddy Carrigan plays with, especially if he's able to do that in short bursts and not making 1 million tackles, I think that would start to look a little bit more like that Flegler Payne Haas combo that we had through the 2022-23 season, where we were super successful. So I think that will go well. Now, a little bit more of pre-season stuff. We've got the co-captains for the Dragons announced. So we've got Cookie and we've got Gutho. And then we've got an article coming out today that has got to be one of the worst photoshops, one of the all-time drive-bys that got done on poor Gutho getting printed in the mail. I'm not sure how many eyes this would have had to gone over. It couldn't have just been one person having a look at this, bang, into the article printed. There surely would have been some sort of checking, some sort of quality check, something going on here. So I'm just starting to think that there might be a little bit something else going on here, because it couldn't have gone through that many people and then gone, yeah, sick, that looks great. I'm starting to question whether or not the person who edited that photo with Gutho, yes, they can make mistakes, but maybe it was just a disgruntled para fan that was completely burnt about Gutho jumping ship and going over to the Dragons, because you would have to go through some significant effort to cook that Photoshop. And we've seen so many people putting up videos now of how it might have been done, this and that. And that's not easy, you know. And I'm somebody that does a little bit of design work and whatever else myself. Like, you're that focused on what you're doing. Yes, they probably have deadlines and whatever to meet, but you would notice something like that. So yeah, Gutho has had an absolute drive-by done on him. I think he even posted it on his own story, just being like, yes, sick, thank you for that one. But plenty, like I said, of rugby league stuff coming up. It's only going to get more and more and more, plenty more. So like I said, make sure you are following so you don't miss anything, because there's going to be content coming all the time. Now, jumping over to something completely different, moving on to UFC. I want to get into my UFC 311 picks, the first pay-per-view of the year. But before that, I just want to have a quick chat about what happened to Khabib Nurmagomedov the other day. So a lot of people probably have already seen a video, but he was on a flight, I believe from Alaska, flying somewhere else in the States. And this video came out of a flight attendant having a conversation with Khabib about having to change seats. And he's saying, hey, this isn't fair. Like, why are you moving me? That's, you know, what's going on here? And pretty much he also uploaded some details later on, kind of clarifying the situation. But essentially what had happened was they're saying to him, we're not confident that you understand enough English that if the plane is going down or there's some sort of emergency that you're going to be able to operate this door. They give that whole instructional thing, whatever, how to open it. Sweet, great. Definitely racism if I've ever seen it. I just don't know how else you'd sum it up. He's literally having a conversation with her in English. I think his comprehension is A-okay at this point. I don't think he's struggling. Just the fact that he's having that conversation, you should be like, oh yes, he knows what he's doing. He even says, you know, they checked his ticket on the way in, being like, oh, you know, are you capable of doing this? And everything was fine. And then they had a little bit of a problem. And, you know, she kind of just goes, well, you can either get a supervisor or we're going to get security and take you off the plane. And he's just like, well, this is ridiculous. He just calmly gets up, leaves. You know, it's going to be no problem for him, obviously, get another flight, but that's besides the point. It's just a bit ridiculous that stuff like that is still happening. And nice from him, obviously, not to pull the whole, you know, do you know who I am, this, that, and everything else. But if a plane is going down, Khabib is the guy I want opening that door. He's probably the most capable and competent person on that entire flight. If shit is hitting the fan in a ridiculous, stressful moment, unless he's terrified of flying, I reckon he's going to be able to get that door open. Even if he couldn't speak English, I dare say it's probably not his first rodeo on a flight of any kind. He's getting that door open one way or another. So whether that's lifting the bloody handle or smash the window, brother, I don't know, beats me. But trying to sit there and say that he doesn't have a good enough comprehension of English while he's having a conversation with you, yeah, doesn't make a whole lot of sense, that. So people on the internet are understandably upset with that. A shitty situation for him to be in. Fucking staff members, you know, yeah, don't get me wrong, people make mistakes and whatever, but it just seems very targeted in this instance. I can't imagine him giving any kind of weird reason for them wanting to change that seat around or whatever. But all good. That leads, like I said, into UFC 311. So first pay-per-view of the year. It is a pretty good card. I'm only going to go over the main card here. So this one kicks off... Let's actually have a look. I'm not too sure what time in Australia. I should have had that written down. Give me 2 seconds. So this one kicks off at 1 p.m. So that's in Queensland time. So it'll be 2 p.m. in New South Wales in that case. But... first fight of the card, we've got Kevin Holland versus... Now, this guy's only had about 2 fights in there, some Dutch dude. I thought he was a kickboxer, but he's had the majority of his wins by decision. I'm sorry about the name, but Renadere Ridder. Some Dutch fucking name. Beats me. But I'm going to go with the Dutch man to beat him. So, Kevin Holland, yes, he fights all the time. Yes, he's entertaining. He's got pretty good ground game, but this other guy's got quite a few submissions. Now, from what I can tell, and I'm so sorry about the fucking absolute butchering of the name, I've never actually heard it, but it looks like he might have been either a champion in one or a multi-divisional champion in the one promotion. So the dude is definitely up to that level, and we've kind of seen a lot of the time from Kevin Holland, he doesn't necessarily take these fights super seriously. Yeah, not too bad on the ground, but I think this guy is going to be able to take him down and get the submission. That is my prediction for that one. Next fight, Beneil Dariush versus Renato Moicano. I'm going to go with Moicano on this one. I'm going to go with a TKO. He has been on a run for quite a while now. Moicano wants money, and that is the fact of it. He's going to be pushing for a bonus, and I think he's going to be able to get it done over Beneil. Beneil, yes, very solid fighter. Great grappling, great ground game, but then you got the jiu-jitsu to deal with of Renato Moicano. So that's going to be a fun one for Dariush. Next, Yuri Prohaska versus Jamal Hill. This is a really, really exciting fight. This is the second time they're fighting, if I'm not mistaken. They fought a little bit ago, pretty sure, but it would be rude not to go Yuri by however the fuck he wants, but probably by knockout, I reckon. Let's see, did they fight? Have I lost the plot? I swear they did fight. Maybe not. So this would be a little bit of a, I guess, next in line sort of bout. But at the same time, Yuri's already had his crack at Alex Pereira that many times. But Jamal Hill, I don't think this is going to go super great for him. I think this is his first fight back since the whole Alex Pereira knockout thing. He's just been yapping online for so hard, for so long now. Yuri, just samurai warrior up in the mountains, probably training in the snow for this one. I think he's going to get this one done by knockout, or however else he wants to. He'll probably backflip into an armbar or something. Beats me, but I think he's going to get the knockout. It's going to be in some spectacular fashion. It's going to be some double spinning back fist, ridiculous move. So Yuri Prohaska with that one. And then that gets us to our two title fights. So this one here, the bantamweight title. So we got Merab Dvalishvili versus Umar Nurmagomedov. Now, very, very tough fight to pick on this one. Both of these guys have ridiculous grappling, though I do think Merab is going to get this one done. I think he's going to get it done via decision. That little motherfucker can wrestle forever and shoot forever. He has an unlimited gas tank. He is just a little creature. I can just imagine him in the cage making noises like just fucking up in your ear, taking you down, taking you down. Umar, obviously, you know, coming from that whole Dagestani camp, he's going to be a handful. Both of them have pretty decent striking as well. They just kind of cancel each other out. This could end up being a very awkward kickboxing, you know, kind of striking match, because neither of them, you know, their wrestling is just going to, you know, pretty much cancel each other out. So it's going to be really interesting the type of fight that we are going to see on this one. You know, at that weight, it's probably going to be pretty fast paced. A lot of sprawling, probably a lot of takedown attempts. I think neither of them are going to be able to hold each other down for a really long time. I would be surprised if the other one just completely dominates them on the ground, but again, we will see. Now, on to the main event. Then we've got the lightweight championship fight. We've got Islam Makhachev versus Aman Sharugian. Fuck, there's a lot of hard names to pronounce on this one, so I'm sorry if I'm not saying them 100%. I'm going to go Islam. I'm going to go by submission round 1 to 3. Islam Makhachev is just pretty much a better version of Khabib. You know, a lot of people are going to say Khabib's better. That's fine, but his dad, the coaches, all his training partners, everyone for the longest period of time has pretty much said that Islam is kind of the next step from Khabib. It's almost like an evolution type of thing. He's striking. You've seen it. Knocked out Volk, and just what he's able to do on the feet is ridiculous. So I think his striking is a lot better than Aman's. Both of them very good wrestlers, obviously, but Islam by however he wants. Probably takedown, submit, or takedown and smash is probably the way that it's going to go. Again, though, could potentially, depending on how Sarugian's wrestling is going, it could be another one that does cancel each other out, where they're going to be shooting a lot of sprawling, and again, back to the feet. And if that does happen, you know, again, I like Islam on the ground a lot more than Sarugian, but on the feet, no worries, could KO him. So it's going to be a very interesting one, a nice card to get things back. And then I'm pretty sure the next one after that is Strickland versus Dricus du Plessis in Sydney. Definitely not going to that one because tickets do cost about $1 billion, but it is going to be a great time. Alrighty, well, that is pretty much everything that I've got for you guys this week. Make sure, again, you do follow so you do not miss anything else. Let me know for the UFC stuff who you think is going to be winning this weekend. I'll catch you next week and have a good one.